Welcome to I Can Science That, a channel devoted to honest investigations of everyday science. I haven't been very productive here on the channel lately. I've been super busy out in the real world, but I thought I'd pop in for a quick channel update. I have taken some time to reassess exactly what I'm trying to do with this channel, what I want to happen on this channel. Let me introduce you to my About section, which has been there the entire time. And I have made a very slight update to it. My channel is about honest investigations of everyday science. This channel is a safe space for truth. No making fun of others or name calling is allowed on this channel, with one exception. Lying will not be tolerated. If somebody, including myself, posts anything untrue, please call them out on it respectfully. Lying implies falsehood with knowing intent. If you can't show intent, please avoid using the word lie. If the intent is clear, then by all means, call a liar a liar. Satire is great. I love satire, but not on this channel. If you want to post a link to a satire, go for it. Just make sure you label it so that we all know before we click it that it's a link to something that falls outside the idea of a safe space. And now the update. Channel update. Flat Earth and other science denial is not honest investigation. Flat Earthers and other skeptics of mainstream science are welcome here, but they will be required to follow evidentiary logic like the rest of us. So what is this about? For the past 5 years, I have been casually studying Flat Earth as a proxy for the general phenomena of science denial. And this channel is devoted to the idea that if we want to do an honest investigation into everyday science, that we can do that. And we can get to a conclusive answer on things like the shape of the Earth. We absolutely can. The evidence is right there, and if we're honest about our investigations, we can find that. And I'm very happy to help anybody who is looking for that kind of evidence find it. Over the past 5 years, I have come to the conclusion, very strong conclusion at this point, that flat earthers are not doing honest investigation. I have come to learn over this time that flat Earth is not an expression of evidence. Flat Earth is an attack on science. What I've learned over the past 5 years is that flat Earth belief isn't about evidence. It doesn't come from being tricked into believing that the evidence shows this. The origin of flat Earth belief is deeper than that. Flat Earth belief is, by its very nature, an attack on science. It's not saying, I don't understand the science. It's saying, I reject the science. Now that is a bold and sweeping statement, but let me offer a little bit of evidence. Recently I was watching this video in which WheresWally was breaking down some of the mistakes and oversights being given in a presentation found on Globebusters. I see no need to dispute or correct any of the erroneous claims being made during that presentation. Wally's done a fine job, and I'll link it down in the description if you want to see that. My point is that this presentation does not show any kind of honest investigation. Presumably, the presenter did an investigation of some sort and is coming forward to present their results. However, during this presentation, no globe Earth proponents are present. No mainstream science representatives are present whatsoever. None were consulted before the presentation. None were consulted during the investigation. How can one claim to be doing an investigation of a well-known, fully documented scientific phenomenon and not refer to scientific experts, people with education, or even the science texts that exist? That's not any kind of honest investigation. If I were to try to paint a picture of deliberate bias, that would be it. I've offered to go on the Globebusters show and represent the voice of science and explain my point of view on things, but they've declined. I've offered to have them come on my show, but they've declined. You see, they don't want globe Earth proponents to have a voice on their show. I actually spoke to Bob Nodell about this, and he explained that he doesn't want them. He doesn't want us on their show. He doesn't want us in their audience. And the reason he gave was that no matter what they say, we'll never be convinced. And so that leads us to what the Globebusters consider honest investigation. Often, regular people ask me, how can flat earthers exist in today's day and age? What is that about? Are they even for real? And after my 5 years of investigating the topic, I have come to some answers on those questions. First of all, yes, many of them are real. Many of them are faking, but some of them appear to be quite genuine. As to how they come about, well, that's where the interesting thing happens, and that's where I think you'll see my channel slightly shifting focus to devote more attention to this. How does this happen? When I first started in this, I thought that flat earthers were simply misinformed, that they just did not have a very solid scientific education, and a few simple things pointed out to them that anyone could verify for themselves would be enough to make them see the error of their ways. What I found was very much not that. You see, all you have to do is watch the sunset. Watch the sun go across the horizon, and that ought to be enough to do it, right? That in itself shows us the Earth does not appear to be flat. Is that proof? No, it's evidence. It's obvious evidence. The evidence is everywhere. This summer, I asked proponents of both flat Earth and globe Earth models to present me with their best evidence. We came up with some pretty weak stuff from the flat Earth side and reams of incontrovertible evidence, some of it extremely obvious and very straightforward for the globe Earth side. So I've come to the conclusion that for flat Earth believers, it's not about evidence. It's about something else. If you'd like to know where flat Earth thinking really comes from, I could do no better than to direct you to a comment thread found on one of my own videos. I'll link this video down in the description. Look for the comment from UncleDruncle's Country Cabin. I have no beef with UncleDruncle, but I do think that this comment that he has left encapsulates the idea of flat Earth better than anything I could ever write. Let's hear it from his own words. I'm 100% off grid and performing every task right here on the property. One hiccup of the grid and you're lighting candles back in 1880. Not us, Professor. Society can collapse and my setting won't change one iota. You're literally sucking off the tit of society's provisions. How's that for some evidence? Indeed, how is that for some evidence? Don't believe me? Turn your breakers off for good and let's see what happens. Let's rely on you for all your mechanical, electrical, heating, and food needs. Bro, y'all gonna starve and fast. The bank owns your domicile and likely your transportation. We own ours. Now that is evidence of something. I was born into a lower class, working, broken family. I'm a high school dropout who has taught myself most things. I have PhD professors reaching out to discuss my ideas. And to sum it all up, the very best piece here. I clearly know the science, yet still disagree with the conclusions. If ever you wanted to know how a flat earther could be, I think that's it. And that's really the summary right there. It's not that they don't know. It's just that they reject it. And if you'd like to know why would someone reject it, I think the rest of the answer gives you something about that. If anyone was ever curious about what flat Earth is all about, I could simply point them to this post. You've really encapsulated it well here. Some highlights for the readers. In a discussion of whether the Earth is flat or round, your first point is that you have managed to successfully separate yourself from reliance on society. How's that for some evidence? Your next point is that you are a high school dropout from a disadvantaged economic upbringing. And finally, the greatest single point you've ever made. If anyone comes to me asking why flat earthers exist, this simple phrase should really help them to understand. And I quote, "I clearly know the science, yet still disagree with the conclusions." So that's flat earth in a nutshell. It's not about looking for evidence. It's not that they don't know that it's there. They'll tell you that they're looking for evidence. They'll tell you that they don't know that it's there. But when pushed, you'll realize they do know that it's there. The vast majority of them are fully aware that the sun sets every day. They're all aware that geostationary satellites exist and GPS satellites exist and an entire array of other things that give us plain evidence that the Earth is in fact a globe. It's just that they still want to disagree. So with that, a channel update. All are welcome here if you're civil and you're engaged in honest investigation. If you want to know how something works, come and ask. If you don't believe me, that's fine. You can still come and ask. You can ask follow-up questions, biting, deep, difficult questions, and I would be happy to help you with your investigations. On the other hand, if you're coming here to troll and gish gallop, those posts are no longer welcome here, and I will be deleting them. So that's what's new on this channel. Not much of a change really, just a slight tweak. A little less tolerance for trolls, and less of an effort to show people evidence that they don't want to see. Instead, I plan to focus more on the questions that people want actual answers to. My most recent video is one like that, where someone comes with a genuine question that I think I can help out with, and I provided the answer. That's what I'm planning to do more of. And on that topic, the question I get asked more than any other is, how can these flat earthers exist? So that is something I will try to answer as best I can in future videos. Coming up a week from Saturday, we have a repeat guest. A flat earther is coming to the channel. Someone who has shown themselves willing to do at least a little bit of that honest investigation. He's going to explain that the vacuum of space cannot exist next to our atmosphere. This is a point we disagree on, and something that I have asked flat earthers to explain to me for some time now. Finally, the first one ever is going to step up and try to prove that I'm wrong, that a flat earther is doing honest investigation, and he's going to teach me how this works. Look for that live on Saturday. Hopefully, I'll see you out there. See you Saturday.